What does poop have to do with it? I get asked so often why poop matters, why we should be testing our poop, why have fecal tests, why should we be doing gut testing? And the question I usually get asked is why do we do testing and who wants to talk about it? It's one of those topics that you may get asked when you go see your doctor, but you really don't want to talk about it. So when they say, have you been going to the bathroom regularly? You might say, yeah, sure. Because what does that mean? And why should you care about it? And a lot of times we're too embarrassed to even talk about it. So today we're going to talk about it so that you're not embarrassed to talk about it next time your doctor asks, and so that you understand why it's just so important to talk about poop. Our bathroom habits tell us so much more than just we've been eating or it's just something that our body makes us do. First off, to get past the embarrassing conversation of talking about poop, I want you to understand that everyone and everything on this planet poops. That's how we're built. That's how we're made. Sorry, it happens. So, before you get nervous about talking about it or even hearing this topic might make you feel uncomfortable, think about that. Every single body, every single animal, human, bird, fish, whatever you want to think about, they all do it. So, poop is not that crazy. Everybody does it, and we do it for very, very important reasons. So, to get past the embarrassment, let's do that first. Second, it is very important to pay attention to the regularity of your poop for a lot of different reasons. One, if you are going to the bathroom every single day, that means that your digestion is working, that the food that you're eating is being processed by your body and going through your system and being eliminated, which, by the way, the entire purpose of your digestive tract is to eat food, break it down into particles that can be digested in your body. Once it reaches your stomach, enzymes, stomach acids, and other particles really work together to further break that down. So it's like a very intense chemical reaction happening in your stomach every time you put anything in it. Food, drink, vitamins, supplements, doesn't matter what it is. Anything that goes into your mouth and reaches your stomach is having a very intense chemical reaction. Now, the process in your stomach is to help the further digestion as it continues on down your tract, right? You have small intestines, you have large intestines, you have a colon. There's so many different parts of your digestive tract, right? So it goes in one hole, comes out the other. But a lot happens during that journey. So if you're going to the bathroom every single day, and we call this transit time. So you want to really pay attention to your transit time. You want to make note of it, and you want to mention it to your doctor because it is important. If you're going every single day, then when you put food in your mouth, it is getting broken down into your stomach, into tiny particles, and it is going through your digestive tract in a timely manner. So what that means is you're not suffering from chronic constipation. You're also not suffering from chronic diarrhea. It's traveling, or the transit time is normal, okay? That's a good thing. We want that to happen. You should go to the bathroom at least once a day, every single day. No exceptions, at least once. If you're someone who goes to the bathroom after every single meal that you eat, so let's say you have 3 meals a day, you go to the bathroom 3 times within, let's say, 10 to 30 minutes after each meal, that still can be considered normal depending on the types of meals that you're having and any health issues you might be having. For some people, going 3 times a day is actually a sign of fast transit. And what that means is that the food and the nutrition and minerals and everything in that you're eating that's supposed to go through your digestive tract so that vitamins and minerals and all of these wonderful things can be pulled from what we're eating and absorbed into our body and get to our cells. If the transit time is too fast, then your body's not having time to pull all of those vitamins and nutrients out of the food that you're eating. And so it's just passing through without stopping in the workshop, so to speak. So again, if you're going 3 times every time after you eat, that could be a sign that you actually have an increased transit time, and it could be good or it could be bad, depending on other factors. So if you're someone who goes 3 times a day, Think about other things that are going on. Are you suffering from symptoms? Do you have an autoimmune condition? Do you have diabetes? Do you have weight issues that you're working with? Are you trying to lose weight or gain weight and it's not really working for you? Those could be signs that your transit time is actually too fast and that you shouldn't be going 3 times a day. If everything's working great, you have no symptoms, you don't have any underlying chronic conditions, you are otherwise healthy and you're going 3 times a day, that is fantastic. That means that your transit time is on point for you. That could be due to increased exercise. Maybe you're lifting weights pretty regularly, and so you're constantly building muscle. And so that transit time may actually be okay and normal for you. But it's important to note that for some, that's not okay. If you're someone who does not go every single day, if you don't go every other day, if you don't go once a week, if you go once a month, this means that you have a very, very delayed transit time, and that's a problem because delayed transit times affect a lot of things. One, it means that your body is not able to absorb vitamins, nutrients, all of the things that it really needs to build muscle, maintain blood sugar, feed your cells. All of those fantastic things are not happening at the capacity that it should be happening because your food is not being digested properly. And so you probably are someone who's suffering from chronic constipation, or you're having bloating, you're having stomach pain, you're having probably a lot of food sensitivity. So when you eat things, you're having kind of reactions to some of that food. And that's because your transit time has really, really slowed. And so the food is actually just sitting in the digestive tract, kind of fermenting instead of actually being digested, processed, going through the workshops, doing all the things it needs to do, and then being eliminated. So it's really important to note your transit time. It's really important to note whether you're having constipation. It's really important to keep track and know how often you're going. If you go every single day, you're very well aware that you go every single day. It's not something that you can ignore. If you're not going every single day, also, it's very easy to note that you're not going every single day. What may be difficult is determining how often you go if you're someone who doesn't go every day. So really keep track of that, write that down, and have that conversation with your doctors because that means that there's something going on that needs to be addressed. And once that's addressed, a lot of your symptoms may actually go away. So first things first, note your transit time and keep track. The second reason that poop matters is color. So we already talked about transit time, which is super important, and I want you to start tracking that. But the other thing that's really important is color. And you may be thinking, I'm not looking in there. I put it in there, I flush it down, and story's over. And that's great. It's fine. It's really weird to look in the toilet. I get it. But if you think about it, it can actually tell us a lot of things about what's going on in your body if you just take a quick peek and you know what's going on. So color makes a big difference, okay? Normal bowel movement should be a very consistent texture, so it should be smooth. Think of it this way. You know that it goes through your entire digestive system, right? And your digestive system, if you think about it, once it leaves the stomach and it goes into the intestines, it's basically like a giant tube, right? So you can think about like a water slide, like the tube water slides that you shoot down with the water. That's sort of what it's like in there. And so it should not necessarily look exactly like the tube, but it should be smooth in nature, like it just came through a tube, like a water slide, and it should be consistent. So what that means is you shouldn't actually have little pellets, you shouldn't have big balls, you shouldn't have lumps all in it, things like that. It's normal to have that sometimes, but a very healthy poop is consistent, and it is either a really light brown, a little bit darker brown, unless you've eaten a food like beets, or you've taken a vitamin like some B vitamins actually, can change the color of your poop from those vitamins and minerals that are in there. So if you had beets, let's say, a lot of them for dinner, and you went to the bathroom and you had kind of a purplish red tinge to your poop, don't worry about that. That's the beets working. If you didn't have beets or anything weird for dinner and you have a red tinge to your poop, that might be actually blood. So you want to pay attention and notice that, okay? Don't panic, don't freak out. Take note, and the next time you go, see if it looks like that again. B vitamins and other types of supplements and minerals can actually turn your poo like a yellowish or a greenish color. Again, completely normal. That's just from those substances. And just kind of keep an eye on it and see if it's consistent or if it changes over time. So it's not always time to panic when it looks different. But if you are having almost like black poo, like it's very, very dark, almost black, and you didn't eat anything different, you're not on a new supplement or medication that could have potentially done that, this could be signs of old blood, which means that somewhere in your digestive tract you may have bleeding and it's dried up, it's been there for a while. And so it's like old blood that's coming out. So if you have really, really black or dark poo, that's something to be concerned about. Again, don't freak out. Just watch it and see if it's happening consistently. And if it is, it warrants a phone call to your physician to have a conversation about your poo color. If it's very, very pale in color, let's say like a white or a very, very bright yellow, like a pastel yellow. Again, it could be based from food or a supplement that you're taking. It could be anything like that could have made that change. But if it's happening consistently, you may actually be having some issues with digestion with certain vitamins and minerals. So that can also be a sign that there are things going on. So color is very, very important. Again, it by itself is not cause for complete alarm and panic, but you should definitely take note and know if there are changes. And a lot of times your poop is never going to look identical every single time. It's just the nature of the beast. But it should look fairly consistent most of the time or have a very slight variation between browns. And so anytime you have something different that looks alarmingly outside of that color pattern, make sure you take note of that. Write that down when that happened. Were you feeling symptoms when that happened? Was there stomach pain? Was there bloating? Did you eat anything weird? Did you take a new medication or supplement that day? Anything like that that may come to your mind when you notice that, just jot that down so that you can have that conversation with your physician. Again, it's really important to not necessarily stare in the toilet every single time, but it's really important to take a glance every once in a while. Make sure everything looks normal, especially if you're not going every day. Like we talked about the transit time before, if you're not going every day, it's really important to take a look at that. And if your transit time is too fast and you're on the chronic diarrhea side of things, it's also very important to take a look at the color and consistency and keep track of that as well. So you're learning about poop. You're learning what to look out for. You're learning to be brave and talk about it. So what is one thing about poop, going to the bathroom, or any crazy toilet things that you have felt like you wanted to talk to your doctor about, but you just haven't been brave enough to ask them about, or you didn't think it was quite that big of a deal to have a conversation about? Trust me, it's always important to talk to your doctor about it, and everything that you do in the bathroom, most of the things you do in the bathroom, your doctor wants to know about. So it is important to kind of keep track and write that down. So comment below anything that you can think of that you learned about poop, going to the bathroom, or talking to your doctor about poop. So share below and I can happily answer any questions that you have because it is very important to discuss poo. The third reason poop is so important is we also want to take note of the consistency. We've talked about transit time, we've talked about color, and now we're going to talk about consistency. As I mentioned before, your digestive tract is sort of like a water slide. So you should expect that your poo will come out looking smooth and uniform like it just came through a water slide. A lot of times that doesn't happen. So if you are someone who goes to the bathroom and you have little pellets, sort of like rabbit poo, if you've ever seen little circle rabbit poops, if yours looks like that, you're actually suffering from constipation. Whether you feel constipated or not, that is actually a very good indicator of constipation, and that's what you're doing. If you go to the bathroom and it's one solid piece, but it's like a bunch of rabbit poo smushed together into one solid piece, again, that is constipation. So you want to make sure if you're seeing that, You're likely not going to the bathroom every day either, so there's some correlation there. But if you're seeing that, you want to make sure that you're adding fiber to your diet. You want to make sure that you're eating food that's really actually supporting your digestive tract, and really just kind of pay attention to that to see if you're having constipation regularly or if it's only happened sporadically. So really take note of that. If you go to the bathroom and it's very soft and squishy looking, or it's completely runny together, like it's like liquid, so anywhere between those two spectrums, you're on the end of diarrhea. And so what that means is your transit time is probably really fast. You're probably going to the bathroom more often than once or twice a day. You're probably eating and then immediately going to the bathroom if you have really bad chronic diarrhea. And so again, whether you're in like the really bad liquid diarrhea phase, or if you're in the really kind of smushy, doesn't look quite right phase, then you still are having bits of diarrhea, and you, again, want to make sure that you're getting fiber. You want to make sure that you are getting good, nutritious compounds to kind of help hold all of that together. Because what fiber does, not only does it keep things moving through your digestive system, it actually is sort of like a glue that helps to maintain your transit speed, helps to really kind of slow things down a bit, so that your body has time to break it down, pull out those nutrients. And it really is a way to kind of help avoid those really fast transit times and diarrhea. Now, you can overdo it with fiber and you can actually cause diarrhea from that. But the important thing is to really make sure, if you're having diarrhea, that you're noticing if you're having food sensitivities. Diarrhea can actually be linked to gluten, dairy, soy. A lot of the really inflammatory foods can actually be causing that. And so if that's the case, you want to kind of back off of those foods a bit and see if you can kind of regularize that so that you're getting out of the diarrhea phase. And again, you want to make note that you're having that, how often you're having that, and if you feel like there's a correlation between something you're eating, a medication, something you're doing, lifestyle-wise, that could be contributing to that, so that you can talk to your physician and let them know that you're having these diarrhea episodes and what you feel like might be linked to that, so that you can have an open conversation with them about it. If you have poos at least once, maybe twice a day, a couple times a day, you are checking your color and it's in the brown spectrum, and it's a consistent shape all the way through, you, my friend, have normal poos, and you don't really have to worry about it that much. Again, just keep glancing, make sure that it is staying consistently that way. And if you're someone who's having normal poos, congratulations. But also, it makes it so much easier to notice when there is a change or a difference, because you are used to what normal looks like. And so when there is something that happens, you can see that more easily. So take note of your poo, track it, take a mental picture, and make sure that the next time your physician asks you if you're going to the bathroom regularly, you answer that question as honestly and as totally as possible, and they will be shocked that you are bringing up your transit time, the color of your poo, and the shape and consistency. But you'll get somewhere and you'll get answers. So remember to talk about it. If you found this video helpful, if you are someone who has been afraid to talk about poo for all of your life, and you have just learned something and you understand the importance of talking about poop and looking in the toilet, then comment below, let me know what you think. Also, please subscribe, turn on those notifications so you don't miss any more fantastic episodes. And as always, please reach out to me if you have questions, concerns, comments, or just want to work together to get your health back in order. I am Brandy, your gut health specialist, and I am so happy to help you in any way that I can get you healthy, happy, and on your way to being symptom-free. So find me at brandymeilenberg.com or at guthealthacademy.teachable.com, or of course here on YouTube when you subscribe below.